Joining this series of the Stater Fireside Chat. My name is Bogdan. I'm the co-founder and CEO at Stater, and today it's my pleasure to have as guests Dima Bryukhanov and Michael Dagan from XP Network. The discussion will have two parts. In the first one, we'll have a more structured conversation, and in the second one, we will take questions from the audience. At the end of the discussion, we will send $50 in STR tokens for the first 5 questions that we have from the audience. So make sure to prepare our best questions and also stay until the end. So let's break the ice. Hey Dima, hey Michael, thanks for joining this chat, and it's nice to have you here.
Hi Bogdan.
Hi Bogdan.
Hey. Thanks for joining. So first and foremost, could you tell us what is XP Network in your own words?
Well, right. XP Network is a project centered around the NFT multi-chain bridge. We are allowing the apps and users to transfer NFTs from EVM and non-EVM chains. We're filling the gap that exists in the market with our solution. And we're hoping to improve the infrastructure for the NFTs, which we place big hopes for.
Sounds great. Tell us more about your background and experience, and how did you guys start working on this idea?
Well, as for me, I have sound experience in programming, such as C, C++, Python, TypeScript, and some other languages. I met Nir several years ago, and he offered me a position of a CTO in a new project that we began with him and a couple of other guys. We were first looking for a good path for us to move forward with, and then eventually we arrived at the idea that we want to work in the world of blockchains. We started building a blockchain of our own. We used a substrate framework for that. And then eventually we found this gap that I previously spoke about, and we decided to put our effort in building the bridge. Because this is the niche that we think is not occupied at the moment, and we could shine there.
And what about the team? Who is behind the XP Network project?
Well, our team consists of multiple developers, with many of them have blockchain background, but we are backed by a huge number of companies and investors. Among them are X Network, Wings Capital, MGC, Twin Apex, Master Ventures, Cosmos VC, and many more. Moreover, we have very experienced consultants who started their paths in the blockchain in 2011 or about that time. Some of them are big investors and early investors with other blockchains. Some of them are pretty familiar. But mostly you can see information about our team on our website, including the consultants who help us choose the best path.
Yeah. Okay, and let's get a deeper dive into the product. So what are the problems that XP Network is trying to solve, and how do you guys how are you guys planning on solving those problems?
All right, as you know, chains have multiple programming languages, multiple smart contract languages, and multiple standards for tokens. So what we have to do is to not only to be able to transfer assets from one chain to another, but we have to translate the logic of our bridge smart contracts into multiple smart contract languages, and we have to be compatible with the NFT standards on every chain our NFT arrives to. So in general, we are connecting users and NFT creators on multiple blockchains, giving them a chance to trade their NFTs freely, what we called in a chain ignorant manner, so that they don't care which blockchain the customer or the collector or an exhibition is, they can always be sure that they can send an NFT to the target chain, and it will behave as a native NFT there.
Yeah, yeah. We were actually thinking on a solution like what you guys are developing because right now, like on Ethereum mainnet, the gas fees are just so crazy. So, uh, in our view, like if we could just find a way to move the users from Ethereum from mainnet to a layer two where they could have like multiple interactions with a dApp or with a game, that would break the ice a lot in the market and would drive more adoption. So how does that work? Do you guys support like all the NFTs from all the chains that you are partnering with, or you are just going on a whitelist basis?
Exactly. At the moment, we are working only with the whitelist smart contracts, and we are doing it on purpose for the security reasons. There's a big chapter on security in our white paper that you can read, and the whitelisting smart contracts is part of the multi-layer security. The reason why we're doing this is because NFT smart contracts are more complex than ERC20 smart contracts. And because of
Yeah.
the complexity and additional logic that they may contain, they can also have some subtle and not decent logic that can actually break something or allow some participants even to steal NFTs from the users or do some other illegitimate stuff that we want to prevent. And for this reason, we prefer to first read the smart contract source code, make sure that the logic of the smart contract doesn't contain any malicious logic, and only then we include the smart contract in the whitelist that our bridge supports. This way, we are protecting our users from thefts or other malicious activity that could be possible otherwise.
And how many projects do you have whitelisted?
Well, we've whitelisted about 500 smart contracts on Ethereum, about the same amount on BSC, about the same amount on Polygon. And on other chains, we also looked at the transactions per day. So whenever it was less than like 1 or 3 transactions per day, we already didn't whitelist that smart contract because we assume that there aren't many users who will require the bridge from that smart contract. Other than that, we also whitelisted the smart contracts from the first 1 or 500, depending on the chain.
Yeah. Okay, so let's dive deeper into the products. What are some of the use cases that can be built on XP network? I saw in the documentation, besides the actual bridge, you have some fractionalizing of NFTs and you have like multiple use cases. Could you please like explain uh, the functionalities?
Well, actually, mainly the functionality is that users, individuals, or the apps could use the bridge for moving NFTs between chains. For example, a marketplace could also become blockchain agnostic, and it could use the bridge behind the scenes invisibly for the users. So a user from a different blockchain, let's say an NFT lives on Ethereum or an NFT lives on Polygon, and the user comes from BSC. And the user can just use MetaMask and buy this NFT and retrieve this NFT to the blockchain of interest, let's say Polygon, for example, and then do something in Polygon with this NFT, let's say also list it on some marketplace and sell it there. This is the most common use case we expect. In the nearest future, we're going to support additional logic that our NFTs will transfer from one chain to another. At the moment, we are supporting NFTs that whose assets are images, videos, and audio.
And for more logic, you are talking mostly about games or some assets that have some kind of fundamental functionalities behind them.
Yeah, I'm talking about fundamental functionality. For example, CryptoKitties, as you know, it's a NFT-based game, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
logic behind those NFTs, and the metadata of the NFT changes gradually while you're doing something, interacting with the NFT. And of course, this logic needs to be transferred to a different chain if the users really want it. And this is something that we are working at.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, so tell us more about the tokenomics. What role does the XPNet token play in the entire process?
Okay, first of all, XPNet is the token that fuels the bridge. While we're transferring NFTs, we allow our users to pay for the transactions in the original native tokens of the original blockchain, which means the user doesn't have to convert anything to anything. The user pays everything in the native tokens, but inside the bridge behind the scenes, we convert the native tokens to XPNets and to the tokens of the target chain. And our relay validators of the bridge pay for the transactions on the target chain and the target chain's tokens. And our commission is withdrawn in XPNets. Another use case for XPNets is a staking program that you can find on our website. We have a very cool staking program with very generous APY. Apart from that, users who have staked XPNets get free NFTs that they can further trade on multiple chains, again using our bridge. Of course, this smart contract is whitelisted by the bridge and you can move it freely. We're going to build more utilities where XPNet will be the fuel of those utilities. For example, we're planning to build a marketplace, NFT marketplace. We're going to build NFT Explorer, NFT Lister, and many more NFT related tools. And some of them will be free, like NFT listing, and some of them will be paid, at least for the transactions. And XPNet will be used there as a fuel. So it makes sense to buy XPNets right now before we have more utilities for that, and then you will be able to sell it at a higher rate.
By NFT Explorer and the NFT listing, you are basically trying to build something like OpenSea, which is more or less like an aggregator.
Well, actually, OpenSea, if you take mainnets, it works only with Ethereum, Polygon, and Clayton, only three
Yeah,
networks. While our market,
and I would say like mostly with Ethereum because Polygon it's still in beta. Not
yeah,
sure,
right. But our
not the
marketplace
best experience.
will be truly chain agnostic. And apart from EVM chains, it will also contain at least NFTs from non-EVM chains, for example, Elrond, Algorand, Solana, and many more. So you will be able to use your to buy NFTs from non-EVM chains and pay in Ethereum, let's say, or BNB or Matic, which is impossible in any solutions today, in any existing solutions.
Yeah. Sounds great. And when are you guys planning on building the marketplace? Do you have any time frame for that?
Well, it's going to happen in the nearest future, like within several months, something like this. Within several
Okay.
months. Within several months.
Yeah.
That's the answer.
Okay. So now tell us more about the roadmap. What are you building in the future, and how do you see the Explanator project evolve in the long run?
Well, first of all, we're going to connect in the short term. We're connecting Algorand, we're connecting Tezos, we're connecting Solana, and Cardano. Very big chains that are interesting for the NFT ecosystems. Further, we're going to integrate more and more blockchains, eventually covering most of the blockchains that even support smart contracts, regardless of the languages of the smart contracts. So NFTs will travel freely across all those chains. Apart from that, in order to allow third-party dApps to use the bridge behind the scenes, we have already built a JavaScript, or better say TypeScript library that dApps can import from NPM and use the functionality of the bridge in a very, very simple way. There are only several functions that are left inside this library that abstract away all the complexity of the bridge. So the bridge is a complex structure, but the users will only have to run 4 or 5 very simple functions with very simple parameters and will be able to use the bridge. Apart from that, for the users who want to use the bridge from non-TypeScript and non-JavaScript environment, for example, let's say Python, C Sharp, C++, Java, or whatever the backend environment they prefer, we have actually already built the REST API uh, access to the bridge, which allows you to send post requests with the parameters inside the body, and it will give you access to the bridge in the same way that the JavaScript library does, which actually opens the bridge to any programming language and making it language agnostic. Further, like I told you, we're going to work on a marketplace, on a cross-chain marketplace, where people will be able to choose any currency they want to pay for the NFTs, and they will be able to list NFTs from any chain that is connected by the bridge. We're also going to improve the environment for NFT creators. We're going to allow them to view NFTs on multiple chains with the NFT Explorer, and more tools will come, mainly NFT connected.
Sounds amazing. And also from our end, we can't wait to start the integration and see how we can integrate the bridge uh, on the Stater platform.
Great. We're also
Yeah,
looking forward to doing that.
yeah. So the NFT market has experienced some amazing growth this year, and I wanted to ask you, like, how do you guys see the space evolving in the next couple of years?
Well, we believe that at the moment, NFTs are very underestimated by the non-crypto society. NFTs have a much higher potential than just speculating on NFTs. For example, if utilized by governments and universities, it could give a very easy and bureaucratic free access to all kinds of documents. For example, universities could start minting diplomas and certificates as NFTs in special smart contracts, and that could be easily validated on some blockchains by the employers. For example, an employee comes to an employer, and employer wants to check the authenticity of a diploma, and it takes a couple of clicks on a blockchain, and you see the diploma of a person. You don't need to call the university, you don't need to do cross checks, everything is fast and easy. Same thing could be done by the governments. For example, elections could be held via blockchains, or for example, people could get licenses, professional licenses like a doctor's license or I don't know, hunter's license, uh, as an NFT on a blockchain. There are multiple blockchains that provide very cheap minting or transaction fees, so it could be very accessible both for the governments and for people. And then those NFTs could also be moved from one chain to another chain if someone wishes to. Another use case is tickets. Tickets can be sold and can be traded afterwards. If that was a ticket for some event that fans of a rock band or a sports player, let's say, would value after the game is over, then this NFT ticket could be sold later. And eventually, we hope that more and more physical property will become minted as NFTs once legislation is there. And eventually, people will be able to sell their apartments, their cars, their computers, of whatever they want as NFTs. So we believe that in the future, NFTs will become an integral part of our lives like mobile phones are. And then our multi-chain bridge will be a necessity rather than a fancy tool.
Yeah, there are so many amazing use cases for NFTs, and we are definitely bullish on tokenizing real assets like real estate. We already see something happening, but it's very early stage. And of course, like technically, you could do it like in a couple of days, but the legal framework needs an update in order to be able to actually transact the NFTs that represent maybe like an apartment or even a fraction of an apartment.
Exactly.
So we still have some years to go, but I think things are moving in the right direction.
Right.
Yeah. So that would be it from the first part of our discussion. Now we can take some questions from the audience. So guys, if you have any questions, just raise your hand. I also saw some questions in your Twitter post, so let's take some questions from the comments. So one user was asking, like, can you tell us about future big partners besides connecting to other blockchains?
Well, actually, yes, we're integrating. We already started integrating the bridge with the apps on multiple chains. We are negotiating with several marketplaces and with several NFT projects, for example, that do NFT lending, NFT fractionalizing, and voting, which eventually turns into an NFT. And because part of it happens on Ethereum right now, the projects are looking for a way to make it cheaper. And for example, the voting procedure takes them about seven transactions for a user to eventually place a vote inside an NFT. And they're looking for a way to be able to uh, conduct the voting procedure on a chain with cheaper transactions, and then eventually returning the NFT with the results to Ethereum, where the main project resides. Some of the projects asked us not to disclose our partnerships in advance. We want to make a big event from that together. So I won't be able to name some big projects that we are already cooperating with. Actually, some of such cooperations will become public. In Hamburg, there will be a big event where our CEO Nir will be present, and we'll have a chance to speak. So I think some of the partnerships will be announced there. So have a closer look at the event in Hamburg that will take in the beginning of December this year, and you will hear some loud names.
And another user was asking if are you planning minting services on your platform?
Actually, our JavaScript library that I mentioned before and our REST API tool already allow minting NFTs on all the chains that are bridged. And minting happens according to the rules of each blockchain where you are minting this NFT. So it already is available for the users. It's not available from the user interface of the bridge itself because minting wasn't planned as a main utility, but for other purposes, it is already available. So if you're a developer, you can already download our library and start minting.
Makes sense. Okay, so if we don't have any more questions, I think that we can end the series of the Fireside Chat. Thanks, Dima, for coming in as guest. And also, we want to thank everyone for joining. Don't forget to follow XP Network socials. And for the today's winners, you can ping us on Twitter, and we'll send you some Stater tokens.
Thanks
Thanks,
for
and see you next time.
thanks for having us, Bogdan. Bye.
Thanks. Bye bye.